Yay. Hello, Mrs. Sprecher.
Hello, Miss Prouty. How are you?
Again. And then I have to share my screen again. And then I have to find my minutes. Okay, can you see them, Melissa?
Yes, I can see them.
Awesome.
And I'm going to lose you probably partway through because I'm heading back from Annabeth's dance practice.
Okay.
And it's in Fenimore. So I kind of hit no man's land a couple times through there. So
Yeah, you do. You got to go through Boscobel to get good service all the way.
yeah. And that's kind of the long haul to get to my house. So
All right. I already assumed the first one.
Meeting to order.
Verified. It's on the doors. We actually don't even need to have, just so you know, we just need real brief, like, so I put like yes for these, and then she said, all I really need is like a list of who was there and stuff like that, so. All righty.
Policy 447, middle school student advance.
Okay, so this one is the old policy that, and it's not that old because we just did it last year.
Right.
So, Mr. Lechner said he was going to be here, but he might not be home yet. So we're not planning on changing this right now. But this is a suggested policy, and you've seen it because you're in curriculum also. And so the idea was that, you know, we need to see it in policy a couple times because we need to read through it and make sure it's okay. This year, because of the math, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, but the student must score at least a 95 on the department test, and nobody did that. So there aren't going to be any kids skipping 8th grade.
Julie, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So that gives us, in my mind, that just gives us more time to work on this.
Okay.
So, and then, oh, I took out the rubric because you've seen that in the other committee, but
So we're still tweaking that one then.
we're still tweaking, and I think curriculum wanted to see it again too. So,
Okay. Because I thought there was like some concerns like the section 6. I thought it was supposed to be like the same A and B.
yeah. Hello, the agendas are right there, sir. I'm gonna catch Mr. Brown up because he just came in. So this is a policy that was suggested, and it's actually been in curriculum a couple times, Mr. Brown. And normally I would be worried about getting it set up for next school year, but number 3 right here says the student must score at least a 95% on the department test, and this test was given and nobody got at least a 95. So we won't be having any students skipping 8th grade this year.
Sure.
So that gives us. Anybody have any questions on that? I don't know who's all in here. David, Melissa. David, are you at home?
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, Mr. Lechner's here too. Awesome. Okay. So we are still questioning something. So the student must score a mid-7 on the iReady test, and some people want it to read mid-8 or N7, because if you're in 7th grade and you're taking this test around semester, that's where you should be. That just shows you're right with your peers. That doesn't show that you're advanced. So again, this has gone to curriculum a couple times. I'm pretty sure this was the advanced one. Yep, 4.8. So
Yeah, I think it came back out of curriculum at 8.5 or something like that.
yeah, yeah, I didn't put that in there because usually we do that in policy, but again,
I thought Kathleen was gonna make the adjustments that we talked about in curriculum.
Oh, she might have, but I didn't. I probably didn't get them.
Oh, okay.
Because I know I saved it as, this is a doc, or docx they're called. It's made in Word, and I don't use Word, so I know I didn't link the right one.
Sorry, my fault.
No, you know what, I'm gonna quick look. Because I might have it in my policy. Here we go, 347, middle school advancement. Let me see what this one says. Okay, that one's not any different, but there's one right next to it. And neither is that one. So I have 3 incorrect copies. Sorry. Ah. Okay,
Cause I know I
Anyway.
saw it somewhere.
yeah, I don't remember. I might be, maybe, you know what? I'll look one more spot. And committees, curriculum. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Not there either. Minutes of.
She might have just made crib notes and then didn't change it yet.
Yeah, I might have. No, all right, well, one last click and we'll see. 506. Suggested policy. Let's see what I get there. Yep, I think I made them paper and pencil crest notes, so. All right,
Okay.
I've wasted enough people's time, sorry about that. That's curriculum, and we're back to this. So obviously, we're still working on that one. I'm sorry, I don't even have the right copy in here.
We're going back to curriculum then, and then
Yeah, hopefully we'll be done. Yep. Okay. I'll let Mrs. Variance bring us to the next number.
So 4.2, discussion on live sporting events and public comments. And link to an article and another article.
So again, I don't have I don't create policy. Usually I just modify, find and steal a lot. So I found something about having information about live streaming and correct comments and strategies to be dealing with the negative or inappropriate comments. I did not find any policy on it. But this one was really close, like asking, and maybe I even need to step back a bit. Maybe it's got to be like, if we live stream, the comments will be on, off. You know, who's administering the, you know, who's watching that? Who is, what do they call that person? The facilitator. You know, are they watching the game or are they watching the comments? So that's something that we've never had before. So just to even think, what do we need? So again, I just thought, well, at least we can start out with, because we did have an issue with somebody inappropriately posting, and some of them were our students and some of them were other students. Or I shouldn't say that. Some of them were our fans and some of them are other fans on 2 different events. Luckily, we had Mr. Tommy there, and he was a moderator. That's the word I was looking for, moderator. Thank you very much. And he did something and stopped the commenting, at least on our end. So, you know, I'm not even sure where to start with that one. What do you guys think?
So like, as a broadcaster, I think we have the option to disable comments.
Okay,
So versus having a policy on the comments, like, you know, or like, why wouldn't we just get out of our own way and that's the best practice, just disable comments. Like,
Yeah.
that's
yeah, and maybe that's what comes out of this. Like I said, I'm not sure. So, I don't really have any other suggestions. Like I said, I'm like, okay, well, let's just start. I like that idea. Does any, Chris, were you talking?
I wasn't, but yeah, I think it's a good start.
'Cause I
Um,
don't think that you can control or ban, you know, like, I don't know, I don't know if there's any ability to do sort of restricting users to one or two policy or anything like that. Um,
It is a public event. I mean, we're live streaming it a lot of times. So, awesome. Maybe that's what we need to start with.
Yeah,
maybe-
but I mean, you don't have to have the comment section open.
Right. Okay. I will look into, that'll give me a direction to look for next month. Thank you.
Any other thing on that one? If not, move on to 5, new business. 5.1, discussion on other area policies on payout of sick leave, and one is listed below.
Actually, there's 2 now. So, from Hillsborough, actually, it's just copy and paste. You can see if an employee has unused sick leave at the end of the contract term or school year that is beyond the 110 days, the district will buy back those days at a rate of $50 a day. The buyback will be prorated as follows: half a day, quarter a day. And then River Valley has no payment is made for unused reimbursable leave days, current or accumulated at any time, unless otherwise indicated. So this kind of started with admin contracts. As individual contracts, we get to negotiate our own. I hope that was me. I'm getting a weird echo, sorry. So as we just asked for stuff. And so it came through that, like last year, Cheryl had asked for that and it was granted. This year, I asked for that and it was granted to all 3 of us, which was a little odd because Chris and Kathleen didn't ask for it, but like, okay. I really wanted vacation payout because I'm not using all my vacation, and, you know, sick leave, I'm not worried about too much, but I really wanted, but now that's also been kind of kicked down the road a little bit. Cheryl also asked for vacation this year. And since she already had the sick leave, now all of us have the sick leave, but none of us have the vacation leave. And that's not usually a big, huge discussion point. But if I'm going to ask for something in my contract, it's usually negotiated in closed session and approved in open. And the same thing with the other, we can ask for what we want. You guys don't have to say yes. So I guess I was a little confused on why the board decided to let everybody have it when they hadn't even asked for it. And then of course, the staff hears that and they're like, well, if admin are getting paid out for their sick days, why can't we get paid out for our sick days? Which again is a legitimate question, but yep, 4 administrators and you have 60, 70 staff members.
What has been historically, what has been the approach taken to, I mean, has there been a standard, has it been standard between admin and teaching? Has it always been in silos that we always do this, you know, we treat the teachers one individually, we deal with support staff one way, we deal with administration, or is it vary on the topic?
I can tell you when I was here as a teacher, if the teachers got a 3% something, the admin also got it. If we didn't get a raise, neither did admin. And so that's kind of been the trend. But since I started, we've treated everybody differently. I know I asked for things for like support staff, bringing up finance last week, 2 weeks ago. I want to raise the base for paraprofessionals. So I'm advocating for that group of people to be hired at a higher number. So in order to do that, I then need to scoot some other people up. So they're going to get like a 5% raise. and others wouldn't.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to overall increase the pay so it's equitable, yet they're making a little more money. And as far as exact contracts, I don't know because I've asked for things in my contract almost every year. Sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't. And since I've started, we've gotten just about, you guys decide the raise. We usually give you a selection of choices to know how it impacts staff or admin. And then teachers are kind of built in. So, we've got a line, and if you're in this column, if you don't have your master's, and you're in this column if you do, and you move up every year until you hit a bar, then you're supposed to have done certain things to jump the bar, call it. So yes, we pay the exact same insurance that everybody else does. We get the same benefits. Kathleen and Chris are working, now I'm gonna get confused because it changed, Chris. Is it 220 days?
I haven't seen this year's,
Right.
but yeah,
He bargained to get the same contract that Kathleen did. That's all he wanted, because he wanted to have the same number of days and vacation. And at first he didn't have vacation. He just had sick. So, but Cheryl and I work at 240 if you take the 20 days of vacation. So we work year round. So I don't always look at everybody's as being equal, because it's,
right.
Can
it's
I
not.
ask a couple of extra questions?
Definitely.
How is PTO handled for the teachers and support staff? Because obviously we're dealing specifically with sick leave, but it's a similar benefit.
Right. So, only, hourly employees had PTO, paid time off. We got it changed to PTO because I wanted them to have the benefit of being able to take off when they wanted to. If there was a snow day, they used to limit. So like we had the polar vortex, and we had like a whole week of snow days. And if they didn't have any paid time off left, or any sick, I'm sorry, they could only use their personal days for that. So we got it switched so they could take paid time off for that and still get their paycheck. So they can use their PTO, and they get 12 days PTO straight across the board. And they can use it however they want to in the first year of giving it. And then it rolls over and becomes sick leave. And that they can only use if they're sick. So they should always use their first 12 days of PTO, and then next year. And if they need more, they go into their sick leave.
Right, and the teachers, they're
Teachers have,
hourly, so they've got personal days.
they have 2 personal days and 10 sick days.
And how
I thought it was 8.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep saying that wrong. It's 8 sick days.
are personal days handled at the end of the contract?
At the end of the year, personal days go away if you didn't use them. Except this year, you guys voted to allow them to carry them over because I did ask not to, we didn't have enough subs, and May is like sub season. So thank you very much for that, because I think that was helpful for the teachers that were not able to take their personal days. So they'll get them next year, but usually they would just disappear.
Sure. I apologize, I'm asking elementary questions here.
No,
I'm
this is
thinking
good.
from my outside, experience of, well, everybody's got vacation, well, no.
No.
Salary versus hourly.
Yeah, it's different because we have like 4 different tiers.
Right.
And then don't even bring in the bus drivers because they're on a totally different. Anyway, and then so sick days for staff, for teachers roles, they just accumulate it
With no cap,
with no what?
no cap, no limit.
No limit right now. No, it's up to 100.
100.
100.
And in the Hillsborough example that you listed,
Yep.
what happens days less than 110? So days above 110 are prorated and paid at a different rate. Are the other days then paid out?
I think so. I
Is that
think
what
that,
that was?
if they get to 110 days, then they'll buy back the days at a rate of $50 a day so that they're stay at 110 or below. And River Valley used to reimburse you for the half of a price of a sub when I worked there many, many, many years ago. probably 26, because that's how old Clayton was yesterday. So I was pregnant there. So 26 years ago, that was easy to figure out. But they have since removed that apparently. You don't get paid out for anything. There's benefits to both things. If you don't do it, it saves the district money. If you do it and you only pay out after like 100 days or something, that at least gives somebody, so I know Mr. Tapon's on, so I'll use him as an example. If he had 120 days, he could have been sick 120 days this year.
Correct.
So he could have used all of his sick days and really put us in a bind. So there's a benefit to having them accrue sick day, but heaven forbid if he would have fallen, broken a hip and had to be out for 120 days for surgery or whatever. That's why we like them to have that bank, because then they can use them if something like that were to happen. But after 100 and so many days, ours is 100. I think it would be nice to be able to give them, and something like half the cost of a sub, or like they have it delineated $50 a day. It's something as a benefit to the people that are here, but you got to be careful because that could be huge payout.
Which was gonna be my next, my follow-up was like, from an accounting standpoint, what does that look like and how do you budget? I mean, do we then have to pull those dollars out and have them allocated, knowing that at some point these are going to be paid out?
Probably.
Yeah, but Julie, if you think about it, if I were to do the subs, you've got it budgeted in for sub pay anyway. So you've already earmarked $125 for sub pay. So it's not like you're having to make another category of payout.
I can tell you right now, David, that we did not take the number of teachers times the number of sub days that they have, or sick days times how much it costs for a sub.
No, I
Put that money someplace.
That'd be a huge savings account someplace.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yes, we have money budgeted for subs, yes. But, well, this year obviously was whack, so I'm not even gonna bring up this year.
Right.
But, it's costly to have subs. And this year, of course, we had to pay through the nose for some of them, only because that's just how this year went. But I typically people take 5 or 6 days of sick, you get sick, you're sick. And I'm even a mental health advocate, so I'm like, if you need a mental health day, please use it. That's what a sick day is.
What is, I mean, and I know it just varies based on tenure and experience, but I hear $125 for a sub on a single day. A teacher who is leaving or retiring with 120 accrued days, do we have any idea what that cost might be? Because I certainly can appreciate the fact that we do have to budget for substitute teachers as a real expense to district. But, that's not apples to apples necessarily.
Not necessarily. One way to look at it is that as they get over 100 days, they get a payout. So instead of it being a big splurge at the end of somebody's career, like, okay, now I have to write you a check for $20,000. If you have 100 days going into a school year, you get half the price of a sub every month for your 8 days, which would be a nice little bonus for everybody. That's another way to look at it. The other way to look at it is if you get the 100 days, then they just don't accrue after 100, but when you leave, then you would get that big check. So, do that in my head? No, not gonna do that in my head. 100 times 122, so it's $12,000
Yeah.
for every time somebody leaves. That's really a hard sell for, especially this year. And I mean, admittedly, I don't know how many sick days anybody has. I happen to know how many personal days one person has because they asked me today. But if we don't plan for that, it's not going to happen.
And it is a catch-22 from the standpoint that, we can't lose focus or lose sight of the fact that anybody who's accrued this amount of time has been a long-term valuable asset to the district.
Yes.
And you're cutting them off at the knees and saying, don't let the door hit you.
Yeah.
Potentially,
exactly.
that could be the message that's heard.
Right.
And that,
Yeah.
So
And
you gotta weigh both sides of it. You
And I-
can't just-
that's why I kind of like the, throughout the school year, nothing over 100. Because only people that get to that, they're going to get paid a little extra money. And usually when there's that many, that's for teachers, it's your top 3 years that are figured in your retirement. So even that extra $50 a month or 100, whatever it ends up being, adds a little bit to your income for the last couple of years. That's a bonus too.
Mhm. And to get to 100, you have to have not used sick days or personal days and then your 10 years. I mean,
About, yeah. And that's
Yeah,
what.
and normally, even at the 100, when it's paid out, it's not paid out at the full sub rate.
Correct.
Right. So like I said, the Hillsborough's using $50 a day as their payback.
Right.
so if River Valley's not providing any sort of reimbursement at all, are they compensating in other ways, making up for that?
I know.
I know. it now looks-
The way that I understand River Valley, because it reads, and I asked Jim about it, because it says reimbursable leave days. They're not sick days. They are personal, sick, whatever. And because they want to keep their sub base, they are encouraging their teachers to take their days off so that way their subs can be employed. So they're being encouraged to take the sick days or to take the leave days. But again,
Yeah.
they're leave days, they're not just sick days.
Reimbursable, actually, it used to be that if you used to get something when you got, or you would be reimbursed for not taking them.
Sure.
So it's a direct, same thing, like when you get to 100 days, you get reimbursed for whatever it is. And that's why they call them that way. And you could take them any way you wanted to. And if I'm not mistaken, when you leave, you do get paid for something. You used to, obviously that's gone now. I did ask Richland Center, they don't have any
No
payback. So I thought, well, that's 3 or 4 districts. I don't think Weston has anything either, but I don't want to misspeak.
I want to be, I don't know, we're throwing out and getting kind of locked in on this 100 days. You're looking at, it would take somebody 13 years at 8 sick days. They'd have to it'd be over 13 years before they'd be able to see any of that money. When the administration, when you guys negotiated, you could be gone, you could work for 1 year and you're going to be being paid $100 per day that you don't use on your sick day. There's no commitment level there. So you're asking a teacher to commit to 13 years worth of being in a school district and your administration only has to be there 1 year. I don't know that that's necessarily fair. I mean, I put in 7 years of quality service and you're telling me that I got to do 6 more years of service before I'm going to be able to see any of my sick days. It doesn't pay to take a sick day. It's not worth it. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to school when I probably should have stayed at home because first of all, the sub it's a glorified babysitter and who's going to be teaching math? So I lose 2 days for every day that I'm sick. And that doesn't even count the amount of time that it's going to take personally in order to fix what it is that I've been gone for.
It's way easier to just be here sick, just to get ready for a sick sub and actually think something's going to get done in the class. I can vouch for that. I used to take attendance 26 times in one day, so I prepped a lot of classes.
I mean, I would, and this is something I understand. I don't think that we should say, hey, at the end of every year that you get your payback, but at least maybe if somebody has been there for 5 years, that's going to promote somebody to stick around. And you see the end of the tunnel as opposed to, oh man, I don't know. And I think, then it's like, I'll never get there.
So you say, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, you're saying you'd pay it out annually, but then I wonder,
I'm not saying annually.
That's not what you were saying. Maybe I-
No, I'm just saying that that's the way that it is for administration, is somebody could work for a year and then they could take their sick days. No, I'm saying that maybe, maybe think about making it so that that way a teacher has to be there for 5 years. At least that's going to maintain some sort of, there's a commitment as opposed to somebody just being there a year or two.
I don't think that that's how the contract went. And again, I haven't finalized the contracts for the admin because they're not finalized.
Right.
Kathleen and Chris, I could probably do,
Yeah, I don't think there's a $100 payout for any of my sick days right now.
That's what it says.
But like I said, I haven't seen this year's.
yeah. So let me pull up Cheryl 2019-20. I don't want to share it publicly, but I got two people here, so. Ooh, I made it a lot bigger so I could read it. Okay, so for Cheryl's, it says, shall be entitled to, provided that the administrator has at least 10 years of service in the district immediately prior to retirement, the district shall pay to the business manager the sum of 150 a day for each unused sick day, up to 100 sick days within 30 days of the business manager's retirement. That's what hers reads. And the board okayed that. Then, and that's what, and again, you got to remember that was last year that she negotiated for that. The one that was agreed on this year was, I don't know, I think I gave them like you guys three different examples and you just grabbed one. And I haven't had a chance to even sit down and put it in the contracts, and then I always have to have the attorney approve them. So all I do is the paperwork part. But I don't remember all the exact verbiage, and I'd have to look on the agenda and the minutes.
Yeah, Julia, according to the notes from March 8th, if I back up, it says that
That'll help.
upon retirement or voluntary termination, blah, blah, they got to have five consecutive years for an administrator capacity shall receive the payment. So you've got a 5-year that you have to be there. So
Okay, thank you.
I misspoke when I said 1, but when I went back and read it, is you have to be there for 5 years.
Okay, so that's, he's reading off the agenda. I'm sorry, the minutes.
Yeah, minutes. And that's the one that they approved.
Yep. Nope, that wasn't, anyway. So, and again, I didn't bring a policy for you guys to look at because we needed to have this discussion. Because there's so many different ways of looking at it.
So what's the next step? Is it, how do you, like, is it providing a couple of different examples to the board to make a decision collectively? Like we make a, here's 3 different ways that it could be written out, and then the board discusses and determines what the collective group.
That could be, you could be like that. It could be that you've looked at it. We haven't done any costing on it, of course. So
It's a good,
so if we were to do that, we would definitely need to bring it with costing. If we're gonna even do it for teachers, then are we gonna do it for support staff? Or the bus drivers? Or office staff?
And I totally get that. But you made a comment earlier, Julie, that I got to disagree with, that when you made the comparison that you're talking about 4 administration versus 60 teachers. Well, I'm sorry, but just because there's 60 of us shouldn't be a penalty for us. I mean, yes, there's more teachers, but I don't think that, and I understand, I mean, you and I know that I've been in on many meetings and and I support all of the hard decisions that the board has to make. I wouldn't want to be on the board in that regard, but when you're comparing apples to apples, you can't compare. Just because there's more teachers shouldn't mean that it's not valid. It just means that there's more teachers.
Well, it is more teachers. It's a lot more money. And it's a long-term process that we'll have to make sure we have money allocated for. The other thing is that Cheryl and I are the only two people in the building that work. I'm sorry, I take that back. Cheryl, me, Brooke, and Sarah are the only 4 people that work year round in the office. We do have custodians that also work year round. So when I think about my contract versus a teacher's contract, they're different. And
Yeah, and you get paid twice as much as I do too. So,
no, I don't get
you
paid
run-
twice as much as you do, then I'd be making $130,000 and I'm not.
well, okay, but I think you understand my point is that.
Yes, but I also went to school to do that. And I chose to leave teaching to become an administrator.
Okay, and
And-
I don't have the flexibility. I don't get the chance to come and renegotiate my contract every year either. So I'm bound by the contract that I signed 7 years ago and the progression there is. So when things change above me, I think I get a chance to at least voice and say, hey, let's keep things balanced and appropriate, and get a chance to say what, to keep things fair.
And then I would reply, fair doesn't mean equal. That's only because I say that all the time. So, so again, I would, whatever you guys want me to do, I can do different, I mean, I can even figure out the costings on what, oh, I guess I got it too then. The sick leave payout would cost for the 3 district admin that got it in January. And then also Cheryl's is different because it was different to begin with. Then we can, I mean, whatever you guys want me to do to look up different policies, how much would it cost? That'll have to come from you guys as a policy first, and then with the cost and everything, we'll bring it to the board.
Right, because today, as it is, there is no payout. right?
Correct.
That is the policy.
Correct.
So there isn't an obligation to make a change.
Correct.
But certainly hearing this, hearing the suggestion, I mean, we wouldn't want to discount the place of valued staff members. So in order to make a determination on whether or not it's even feasible or financially prudent to do, I think you can't make that call without determination, without understanding the cost,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak over you at all, but I think it makes sense to discuss, multiple scenarios. Maybe it's a maybe the threshold is less than 100, maybe it's at 50, maybe it's after 5 years of service, maybe it's 10. There's a lot of different ways you can
Exactly.
slice this. And then there's also the possibility that it doesn't change, because that is also another outcome potentially.
Yes.
But until I guess it's really hard to, we gotta have to narrow our focus.
I
in some
know
way.
it's way out there. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, I found a couple of policies. That'll give us a little bit of a base, knowing that at least 2 districts near us don't do it at all. One kind of near us does. So that's a good base. And we can use like the sick leave payback. We can use buyback rather. That could be a good choice. And theirs is over 110 days. Again, you could do that number different. You could do it like River Valley used to, with every year, if you got over so many, you would just keep, they gave their sick leave out, if I'm remembering correctly, and Jim probably would remember because we worked together at the same time. They gave you your sick leave once a month. So you got one in August, September, and every month you went over, then you just got that payback. Yeah, so, or reimbursed. That's where the reimbursable comes in.
Well, and I think we pride ourselves in having a really hardy benefit package, that's something that we care about. And so I think this is a piece of that. We need to explore it.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I appreciate it. So at least you're willing to look at it.
Okay,
So do you feel like you can work?
yes, I'm just gonna quick write a few
Okay.
notes. Because these notes are more for me than anybody. Julie, look at other policies. Get some costing and suggestions. And bring back. Next month. Don't judge me on my typing. I didn't even spell my own name right. Oh, yeah. Everybody hears me say that time and time again. If I could go back to high school, I would not take music theory 1 and 2 and 3. I would take typing. All right. Awesome.
I just have a comment about the advancement policy, or comment and question to David, since we have a new board member on here. On the test that they have to score a 95% at.
Yeah.
To skip 8th grade. That test was developed by you and Greg and Paula, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Does that make sense, you guys? The test, our teachers developed the test that they had to score at 95 or above on.
Sure.
Okay.
The test was just so that way, you know, the way that we wrote the test was so that way we designed it specifically so that it's not that they knew Algebra 1, but they knew it was a gauge so that way we knew that they wouldn't struggle going into Algebra 1, so that it wouldn't be that they were always up against the wall the whole year. That it was a matter of saying, okay, we know that they know the core principles, and then we can enhance that. So that's how we built the test.
Right.
So you said.
And you guys spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah, this
Oh,
year, Mr. Trapan just finished correcting them a week or so ago, and nobody got over 95.
Historically, is that?
Well, how many years have we given the test, David?
Oh,
This is
5?
the first year for this.
No, we've
Not
For
for
the
the
one you
test.
guys
no,
developed.
we've given the test for at least since Steve Stetler's been here, we've given the test.
So 3,
Right.
Paula 4, probably 4, at least 4 years, maybe
4 or
5.
5 years. Yeah.
And is this the first year that we've had nobody pass, or I'm sorry, gain?
But hold it, it's a different test than the other years.
Oh, okay,
It's, well, 90% of it is the same.
okay.
We adjusted some things for Greg and his what he's brought to the table. And with the new curriculum that Paula is using, so we did have to make some slight adjustments.
Which one would hope that would happen?
Yeah.
Thank you for developing that.
Yeah. That's when I just like, you know what you're doing, Jake. Jake. I love responsible teachers.
Okay, there's nothing else on 5.1. We'll move to 5.2, the student handbook 401.
All right, so and actually I'm gonna share my screen again, you guys, because then you can see where I am on which page and all that kind of stuff. So Mr. Brown, what I do on policy, and I think you've seen it in board, but it's a lot messier here, is I just cross things off. Now, I didn't do any of this. I shouldn't say that. I did very little of this because Mrs. Shane did quite a bit. Obviously, this principal's message came from the 1920 school year, and we're in the 21-22. So this is for next school year. So we want to get it done probably in June and to the board in July or August, so that it's ready. Well, actually, July would be better because kids start participating in sports in August. So we want to make sure, I should have brought it a little earlier, but we only had one lonely member of the policy committee for a while. She did good, though. She did really good. All right, so, and I'm just going to go through, you can see that they crossed it out. They will write another letter. They do every year. Our mission and vision are in here. This is new. I don't know why it's not red, but okay, now Robert, no, Joe's not on our list. What are you now? You are the treasurer. Ugh. Okay, so I'm not gonna make that pretty because somebody didn't use a table like I would have, so. And then here's our staff. And elementary and athletic, and we don't know the cross-country coach's name. I don't know, I get that one out. All right, so I added human resources because we now have a human resources director. So Brooke Hackle is now our student discrimination complaint person. So anytime it said district admin, I crossed it out and wrote in human resources director. Eventually we'll have the school calendar here and it's a whole page, and then all the bell schedules, and we always like everybody to kind of check it out and make sure that's what they want for scheduling. And we do have the 2-hour delay schedule. And we'll have to make them look a little nicer because they're not very nice. No changes here. Mrs. Shane, are you listening or are you in your office working? Is today Wednesday? She might have class. I see a little, oh, here, somebody
Yeah,
check the
she does
typo.
have class.
That's what I thought. So I guess, Mr. Lechner, I don't know if you have anything to say about this. I don't see a lot of red in here.
No, we were actually looking at it probably in June to go through it more with a fine tooth comb.
Okay,
Through the year, we've changed some things and, made the additions, but this really isn't the end all yet.
okay. So before policy in June, we should have it, would be best.
That's what we think, yeah.
Okay, the one thing I know that both Mr. Lechner and I would like to change is the
Step process
step process.
for discipline.
Yeah. We had a little connection issue with that one. I'm sorry if I'm making you ill with all my moving forward. It's hard to watch. Okay, we have a complaint. All right, so I put rewrite here. So basically that's just me saying it needs to be rewritten. Due process and the state mandate law, a state mandate about suspensions don't connect the way this is written. So it needs to be changed. So I guess there's not much in here, Mr. Lechner.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on it 2 years ago also.
Yeah. So we have FERPA in here now, and I'm sure we'll have, what's the next one? Yeah, more FERPA notices. And then Protection of Pupil Rights Amendment is PPRA. Sex offender registration. And then what we put as a last page is, yes, I have read this kid's name, parent's name, all that kind of stuff. So that's, again, a work in progress. I don't know if you guys took the time to sit down and read it, but word for word. But if you don't have access to it and you want, I mean, you should have access. I'm pretty sure I added you, but I'll have to double check, Joe. I do know how to work Google, good, because you can put comments in there. You can put question mark, like just highlight something and yeah. Yeah, you were allowed to edit.
I don't know if I didn't know I was.
I will. Nope. Now I gotta remember if it's Joseph. Yep, Joseph. I always want to put the either, but I stopped. So now you should have complete edit rights. Just be careful. It is the copy, so it's not gonna hurt anything. And if you're good at Google, you're fine. But either make it red so that we know what we're changing, and cross it out if you're getting rid of something. That's all we ask, so that I always try and I like the board to know, well, we don't need this anymore because we put this in instead. And so I like to see the before and after.
And I saw you keep the plates, so you got your little icon, your little note on the side. That's probably.
Yep. Yeah, to do a, so when you just scan, there's a comment and a suggest. I used to do all suggests because then you can click accept, 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 but only people that have the rights can see the edits, which is a pain. Took me about a year to figure, I'm like, why can't you guys see this? I see it just fine. And of course, the other members of the team did because they had the same viewing rights, but nobody else could, so it really wasn't very helpful. So. Okay.
I have one comment on the testing for the advancement. We have not made that public yet to anybody. So, because there'll be a letter sent out, and things like that.
Okay, so.
So looking further on the handbook, we just brought back to the policy then.
Mhm.
Okay. So we'll go on to 6, setting the next meeting date and time.
Okay. This, oh, you guys don't need to see my stupid calendar. But then my calendar went away. Here we go. So if you want, you guys can have it where you want it. So Joe, if there's a better night of the week or a better time of day.
No, I mean, I'm typically not, I mean, I get comfortable with between 5:30 and 6, which might be depending on the flow. So if I've got a schedule, 6 o'clock works best and just in general. And I can plan it really most nights.
Okay, so we had been going, well, before it was, we moved it because Summer couldn't come on the first Wednesday. But the Buildings and Grounds is on the first Wednesday because they really liked, and they moved it to 6, which is what time you'd need. When we were at 5, it was different, but if it's at 6, we can't be on that night.
Yeah.
Personally, I like to,
Thursdays, my boys have baseball through the summer.
oh, so stay away from Thursdays.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Tuesday and Thursday. So if we do, we can do like the first Monday if you want, because then the board is second Monday. And then we could report right away instead of like, Kelly's trying to remember, let's see, this is like 3 weeks ago. If you want to
Monday
try,
works better for me.
what?
Monday works better for me.
Okay.
7th, is that what that is?
The first Monday is the 7th in June. So, and if something comes up, you guys just let me know. We'll, we can scoot it up or back. So what I'll do is, I'll go back to my minutes. So Monday, June 7th. At 6 o'clock, unless you need it a little later.
No, I think we can do 6.
Okay. And then we'll just see how that goes. And if we get another member, because we haven't asked Robert if he wants to be on this committee, or I think there's one other committee that only has 2 people on it. It's nice to have 3 because then you can have the dialogue. But we did a long time with just 1. She rocked it. I just want to make it convenient for you guys. I usually try not to do policy meetings in December. For obvious reasons. But September is really a low policy month too, because we just cranked on all of them to get them ready for school. In September, I don't want to touch policy. So. All right, Mrs. Variance.
Number 7, adjourn.
Awesome. I'm going to stop taping. Oops, right here.
Later.